Thank you all for attending the Howard County Council meeting for April 25th, 2023. It's 4 o'clock, and I call this meeting to order. Please stand as Councilman Maple leads us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to invite you to join us in prayer. Lord, as we gather this afternoon to do with the work of the county, we just are grateful and thankful that we live in a country, a state, and a county that we do for the opportunities that we have. At this time, I'd like to lift up our former colleague, Jim Papasek, as he has moved on to other things, and just ask that you would be with him and bless his health and the times that he spends with loved ones moving forward. We just lift up all the work we did this evening and ask you to help us to make good decisions and spend our taxpayer money wisely and efficiently and in accordance with what you would have us to do. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. We are 2 council members short as Council Papasek resigned his position and Councilwoman Lake is under the weather today. But we still have a quorum and we will proceed with the work assigned to the council. Our first order of business will be to approve the minutes from the March 28th council meeting.
I move we accept the minutes as presented.
Second. The motion has been properly made and seconded by Councilman Faulkner and seconded by Councilman Cuthbert. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. The motion has passed. Thank you. We'll now move on to additional appropriations. Madam Auditor, if you please.
Ordinance number 2023-HCCO-14, additional appropriations. Whereas it has been determined that it's now necessary to appropriate more money than was appropriated in the 2023 annual budget. Now therefore be it ordained by the County Council of Howard County, Indiana, that for the expenses of the taxing unit, the following additional sums of money are hereby appropriated out of the funds named and for the purposes specified, subject to the laws governing the same. Additional appropriations: County General, County Extension, Intern 2,000, Public Defender Supplemental $718, Hume Cap Development Fund, Vehicles Sheriff $42,465.50. Total Hume Cap Development Fund $42,465.50. Community Corrections Fund, Work Release Facility Manager reduction $543. Full-time Detention Officer reduction $24,862. Administrative Assistant reduction $1,680. Administrative Assistant reduction $1,680. Field Officer reduction $1,893. Total Community Corrections Fund reduction $30,658. Drug-Free Community Fund, Prevention and Education $45,636.38. Intervention and Treatment $68,000. Total Drug-Free Community Fund $113,636.38. Riverboat Fund, Vehicles $42,465.50. Total Riverboat Fund $42,465.50. County User Fee Project Income Fund, Work Release Facility Manager $543. Full-time Detention Officer $24,862. Full-time Detention Officer $1,680. Administrative Assistant $1,680. Field officer, $1,893. Total county user fee project income fund, $30,658. Total additional appropriations for all funds, $201,000, $201,285.38.
Thank you very much. If we can please have County Extension Director, Ms. Hillis, please.
Yes, I am requesting an appropriation for $2,000 for our summer intern. This has already been budgeted. We are looking forward to having a summer intern this year, helping with some workforce development, so learning the extension as a whole, working a lot with the 4-H program, but also with the Health and Human Sciences educator, and then the Ag and Natural Resources educator as well. Any questions that I can answer for you all?
Are there any questions from council members?
Have you hired the intern yet?
I have extended an offer and they have accepted. So Mackenzie Hoda, who has been in the 4-H world before, she is in junior college in, I believe it's Idaho right now, in an ag science program.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So, and then I also have some annual reports from Purdue Extension statewide and then Howard County Extension that I would like to pass out if that is
Please do.
agreeable.
Yes. Thank you.
Anything else? Okay.
Thank you. If we can have Mr. Vandenbosch, please, Public Defender.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Good afternoon.
You're asking for an additional appropriation of $718. The prosecutor and chief public defender have received a supplement in addition to their annual salary over a number of years. Under the Public Defender Commission has done a pay parity audit of the Public Defender's Office, and in that discovered the discrepancy or disparity between the prosecutor's supplement and the chief public defender's supplement. And the way that arose, my understanding, I want to say the 2021 budget was the last time the county had given a 5% across the board raise.
Mm-hmm.
And those raises did not apply to the deputy public defenders because their salary was based on their caseload. So the prosecutor got a 5% raise in his supplement, and it wasn't addressed for the public defender. So that brought his supplement up to $73.50, I believe. So in his 2022 budget, or maybe it was 2023, he asked for the $73.50 and
$73.50.
$7,350.
$7,350.
They were previously each receiving $7,000.
Mm-hmm.
So with that 5%, he received $73.50 the previous year. So in his next year budget, he asked for the $73.50. So the Public Defender's Office for the chief, which is myself, also included in our budget a line for $73.50. Well, and I don't know if it was an oversight or a conscious decision, but the prosecutor got the $73.50, but the public defender's budget or the supplement was left at $7,000. Well, then after we had met with the council for budgets, there was another 5% across the board raise, which brought his supplement to $77.18, and the prosecutor or the chief public defender stayed at $7,000. Well, the Public Defender Commission has taken a pretty strong stance on that they have to be equivalent. And so they're indicating that I needed to come back to the council and ask for that $718 to make them equivalent, or they would consider whether or not they might not grant the 40% reimbursement, or at least reimbursement for my entire salary, which would make about a $40,000 difference in
That's quite a stick.
over $718.
Yeah.
So I'm here asking for the supplement budgets to be equivalent here this year and going forward, if there's any change, that it be made to both the prosecutor and the chief public defender to keep those equivalent, because our salaries are equal and our supplements and other compensation, other than they're covered under the state's insurance, but other than that, are equal.
Is there any questions or comments?
I have
Dr.
one.
Manenbosch?
Sure.
Do you make any distinction between equal and equivalent?
Well, there is a distinction when they talk about the deputy public defenders and the deputy prosecutors. They use the language equivalent, but when they talk about the prosecutor and the chief public defender, they use the term equal. And there's been some issues raised by prosecutors and public defenders in the past, and they've determined that equal means equal for the chief and the prosecutor. It's substantially equal when they're talking about the deputy prosecutors and the deputy public defenders, because it's not always easy to make them exactly.
So equivalent
same.
would be substantially equal
Correct.
in the same neighborhood, kind of.
But they're very clear when it comes to the deputy or the chief and the prosecutor that equal actually means equal.
Thank you for enhancing my education. I have one question.
Thank you.
And of course, you have a letter from the authority who's threatening to
Right, I did
To
provide a copy
crack the
to,
whip.
from the executive of the Public Defender Commission, stating what I stated to you, that if they're not willing to do that, that they will look into whether or not they're going to withhold the reimbursement funds.
Sounds like a threat.
It does, doesn't it?
I'm just the guy in the middle.
Okay.
Don't shoot the messenger, right?
Okay. Is there any questions or comments for?
Yeah,
Mr.
just, I
Manenbosch?
guess, make sure that someone on the council has that so we can verify that
Okay, I
at some
actually
point.
Yeah.
will provide a copy before I leave. And if I can explain, just so you understand, when you review, the initial response from the Public Defender Commission, he was under the assumption that I was part-time, which I am, and that the prosecutor was full-time. So he took half or 60% of the prosecutor's supplement. Well, I responded to him by email to remind him that the prosecutor was also part-time at a 0.6 or 60%, which is 60% of a full-time prosecutor salary. And he then confirmed that if that is in fact the case, and he had forgotten, that the correct amount would be $77.18, as opposed to 60% of the $77.18.
Okay.
I'd be glad to provide you a copy of that correspondence.
Thank you very much.
There's a few emails that followed that clarified
Yeah, thank you.
the issue.
Can we keep this?
Yes,
Thank you very much. We somehow get copies made of this today for all the council members, please? That'd be good, that'd be great. Not now. Mr. Vandenbosch, thank you for coming before us today. I appreciate your time.
you're welcome. Thank you.
If if we could ask Sheriff Asher to come before us.
We're here.
Sheriff
Good
Asher,
afternoon,
good
everybody.
afternoon, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Why not? Every day's an adventure in Howard County. We're here to ask for money from, purchase 5 leased vehicles back from Enterprise. I think the total was $84,931. Our half is $42,465.50. We're gonna take that out of commissary.
Mhm.
Purchase back 5 leased cars. That's what I'm here for.
Well, thank you very much. Can you expand on these vehicles and why you're purchasing them back?
Oh, yes, so we've been leasing cars for the last 5 years, not by choice, by my choice anyways, but we've been leasing cars for the last 5 years, so these cars are due up for lease this year. We're at the 5-year mark, so we were gonna turn those back in. However, to help out emergency management, to kind of pass some of these cars down, we ended up purchasing these 5 cars back for the lease. So this was the pay the lease payments off. The value of those vehicles is what this is. So
Mhm.
that's where we're at, trying to pass some cars down to emergency management. So
Yeah, and as a result of keeping these leased vehicles, they're ours now, they're
Yes.
yours, that'll give you some vehicles that EMA can use, and it helps them also.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Do you
Okay.
get your choice of which vehicles you want to keep from the lease group?
Yes.
I mean, like, could you pick all the lowest mileage ones as an example?
We-
I'm not saying you necessarily
yeah.
would, but could you?
Well, we're looking at the ones that were already police cars already anyways. The only one that was not technically a police car was the coroner's car. We actually had 6 police cars or police kind of cars leased at that time. 5 of them were ours, 1 was the coroner's, so we had 6 cars. One of those cars we do not want. So we're sending that back under the lease. The other 5 we are gonna purchase back. So they're all in good shape. Mechanics looked at them all. They're already upfitted with lights and sirens and boxes. Other than the coroner's car, we would have to do a little extra work to it, but not much. But it's already a police package vehicle, so it works out good to just keep them.
Looking down the road, would you anticipate that, and I'm not saying 5 is the magic number, but would you anticipate that this would be a ongoing thing where you would want to buy back a number of vehicles going forward, or is that too far beyond the scope of this discussion today?
I'd say it's too far past that. We'll have to talk about this next year. How about that? So me personally, I would love to get out of the leasing program whatsoever for the sheriff's office. We'll just have to kind of see how that goes from here on out. So we're releasing 5 cars this year, so we know we're doing it in 2023. I guess we'll have a discussion at budget time for 2024 to see what we're gonna do. But yeah, it would be next year before the next 5 cars would be up for lease. So we would have to have that discussion at that point.
As to how many?
How
might be
many or what
retained.
kind, or yeah, sure.
Okay.
Mhm.
About,
Absolutely.
if you know approximately how many miles average these cars have on them?
I'm glad you would ask.
I
I'm
knew you'd be-
glad you
I
would
knew
ask.
you'd be happy that. I asked
I'm
that
very
question.
happy that you asked me that. Because I don't have a great answer for you. I would say, so 5 years on a patrol car, give or take around 25,000 miles a year, so
Okay,
there we go. Usually, depends on what shift they're on.
right.
A midnight patrolman could do about 30,000 miles a year. Day shift is usually less than that, about 20,000 miles a year, so 5 years,
Okay.
we're talking just shy. I know one car has low miles. We had one officer on sick leave for a while. His car's only about 50,000 miles, so I hate to even turn that back in.
Right.
Around 50,000 miles in 5 years, so, but some of them would have, like I said, a little bit higher, 80 to 90,000 miles. But
Okay.
still good cars.
Yeah.
We could drive, I would rather drive those cars if we can get them to about 150,000 miles, that they're still not falling apart, we're not nickel and diming together. To me, it's a lot better to do it that way, so, yeah.
This is a little off track, but maybe not so much. And I worked in automotive engineering for quite a few years, so do you ever buy stuff like upgrades to GPS, you know, those map things? And frankly, I don't know whether any of your vehicles have that or not, and whether that's
No,
a
none of our
valuable thing.
vehicles, no, none of our vehicles have GPS in them. I don't know, maybe when we purchase those, maybe they have them, but we do not pay for, we don't pay for GPS in a patrol car.
About every 2 or 3 years, I get this thing, it says, hey, you wanna
Yeah.
update your GPS system in your vehicle?
Most people don't use GPS to get around. If they do, it's more like, there's a couple officers I know have Garmin's in their car, or use a cell phone. So I wouldn't pay for GPS in a police car. It just wouldn't be kind of silly to do that.
Okay.
So, yeah,
Thank you.
no reason to.
While you're up here, we have a related appropriation. That's from the council ourselves, and that is Fund 1191, the Riverboat Fund. The council is contributing $42,465.50 also, as we are going 50-50 with the sheriff on the buyback of these vehicles to try to take the sting out of the buyback and make it more workable for everyone. And so that's down the page there, just a few items. And we'll just cover that now since we're all on the same topic.
Same discussion, absolutely.
Yes. Any questions or any comments?
Sheriff, I just want to commend you and say thanks for working with us on
Sure.
that and helping to support the EMA, because they do a lot of great work for this county.
Oh, absolutely. We
Thank you.
especially saw that with the tornadoes, plural, over the last month or so. So they did fantastic work getting out, chasing storms like my patrol officers did, and doing damage assessments, and yeah, did a lot of work for the county, for sure.
You know, went past my house, but the tornado didn't hit my house.
That's good.
Pretty close, wasn't it?
It was close.
Close. Sheriff, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks. I was trying to get rid of that. Where's yours? I'll give it to you.
No, we don't like ties.
Neither do I.
Thank you, Sheriff. If we can have Dustin DeLong come up, please.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How are you all doing this evening?
Good.
We have a few cleanup items that we're trying to clean up from that dreadful increase that you gave all of county employees. I'm kidding. It was much appreciated. However, the appropriation was added into a fund that I cannot have additional funds in. While we're in grant season right now, so I'm asking for it again, but it was applied to a grant fund, so I'm here to request a reduction of the 5% increase out of my grant, and then we're gonna apply it to our project income user fee.
Mhm.
So the 1142 I have to reduce by 30,000, and I have to increase the 2542 by 30,000, just so that we can stay within our budget line items and our spendable funds. So,
And when you say 1142, that's the fund's number
yes, that is
for
the
the
grant
people
fund.
who are following along.
That is the
and
grant fund.
You're taking the $30,658 out of that fund
Yes.
and simply transferring it to Fund 2542 at the bottom of the page, same amount, just from one hand to the other.
Yeah, that's how that works. We our 1142 fund. We're in the process of filling out our next grant, but we received in total about 1.5 million from the Department of Correction a year, and that's limited every year based on what they give us. We have that limited amount to spend, and that's why we have to make these adjustments, because we can't go beyond the scope of our contract.
Yeah.
What was that number, Dustin?
For our total,
That you received from the DOC?
it's about 1.5 is what we received last year. We're asking for about 1.75 this year. Yeah, so we're in the midst of that right now, and the cycles never line up, so it'll be quite interesting coming into the budget cycle, and the new salary schedule for probation officers hasn't come out, so we're guessing with our grant budget to just have to turn around and do it all again in about 4 weeks.
Well, thank you for coming in this afternoon and sharing that with us. We really appreciate it. Is there any questions or comments for Dustin? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
We can have Mr. Pruitt come up for Drug Free Community Fund.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
So we're looking for an appropriation of $113,636.38 of money is deposited to our account from the opioid settlement given to our county.
Mhm. And this is a pretty simple one. The money's been put in the fund. Mr. Pruitt cannot spend it until we appropriate it.
Exactly.
And that's all we're doing is just simply going from the fund grantor to
Yep.
to your
Exactly.
department.
Mhm.
Okay,
And this was done by the commissioners and they got their blessing on it.
Yes.
yeah,
And thank you so much, Mr. Dodd and the commissioners, for giving money to Drug Free Howard County. Appreciate that greatly, very, very much so. And Pam, Isaac, thank you for helping on this also. Thank you. And I would also like to say thank you to Gabby. She is outstanding to work with. She is just spot on and helps me immensely. So thank you so much, Gabby. Appreciate your help.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
well, no questions? Mr. Pruitt, thank you very much.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
You too, appreciate it. And that completes the additional appropriations. Are there any comments or any questions about the additional appropriations from council members? If there are none, I will entertain a motion.
So, Mr. President, I move we accept these additional appropriations as presented,
Second.
accept and approve.
The motion has been properly made by Councilman Faulkner and seconded by Councilman Maple. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion is passed. Thank you very much. We will now move on to transfers. Madam Auditor, if you will.
Resolution number 2023-HCCR-6, transfers. Whereas the county council may approve the transfer of money from one major budget classification to another within a department or office. If the transfer does not require the expenditure of more money than the total amount set out in the budget as finally determined, and if the transfer is approved at the regular public meeting and by the proper ordinance. Be it resolved by the County Council of Howard County that it is desired and deemed necessary that the following transfers be made within the accounts of the designated funds as set out below. County General Fund, Auditor, Second Deputy Finance to overtime, $2,500. Auditors and Eligible Deduction Fund, Contract Services to building upgrades, $38,620.
Thank you. Both these are from your department, right?
These are from us.
Can you share with us what's going on?
Sure. So for the first one, there was unused money in our second deputy finance, and we're moving that to overtime to be able to cover our payroll deputy that retired, and we had to pay out vacation and comp time. So that's what that is for, to cover that. Our auditors and eligible fund contract services to building upgrades. These were the expenses from the renovations of 2022 in our office that wasn't covered under the ARP grant fund.
Okay. Okay.
Any questions?
So the work has been done, you're just paying for the final bill. Okay.
Correct.
Are there any other questions or comments for Madam Auditor? Well, in that case, I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. President, I moved we approve the transfers as presented.
I'll second that.
Motion has been properly made by Councilman Alexander and seconded by Councilman Faulkner. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. And now we will move on to salary ordinance amendments.
Ordinance number 2023-HCCO-15, salary ordinance amendment. An ordinance amending and increasing staffing and salary authorization to be paid county employees for the calendar year effective January 1, 2023 through December 31st, 2023, as originally approved for the year 2023, except where otherwise noted. Be it ordained by the Council of Howard County, Indiana, that for said fiscal year, the following salary amendments are approved as additional charges to the basic salary ordinance for the same fiscal year. Necessary personal service appropriations have been approved previously to support the required expenditure of necessary funds. County General Fund Auditor, Second Deputy Finance, a reduction of $2,500. Overtime, $2,500. County Extension Intern, $2,000. Public Defender Supplemental, $718. Community Correction Fund Work Release Facility Manager reduction, $543. Full-Time Detention Officer reduction, $24,862. Administrative Assistant reduction, $1,680. Administrative Assistant reduction, $1,680. Field Officer reduction, $1,893. County User Fee Project Income Fund Work Release Facility Manager, $543. Full-Time Detention Officer, $24,862. Administrative Assistant, $1,680. Administrative Assistant, $1,680. Field Officer, $1,893.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments about the salary ordinance amendments from council members? If not, I would entertain a motion.
Move to approve the salary ordinances as presented.
Or is there a second?
Second.
Motion has been properly made by Councilman Alexander and seconded by Councilman Maple. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Thank you. Next item will be old business. Is there any old business on the council? Any new business for council members? I'd like to make an announcement if I can, please. As we know, Councilman James Papasek has resigned his position on the council. He has been a great councilman, a voice of reason, and a public servant of the county council for 39 years. He served on the Kokomo City Council for 8 years. Jim has served this community for at least 47 years as a councilman. I need to repeat that. Jim has served this community at least 47 years as a councilman. He's also the president and chief executive officer of Haynes Community Federal Credit Union. And amongst council members, he was known as the calculator for his great ability to process the myriad lines, the line items in the annual budget, even before the budget hearings began. He's always a gentleman, he's always thoughtful, and we wish Jim and his family all the very, very best. The next county council meeting will be held May 23rd. And if there's no comments, I will entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Thank you, John, for speaking about Jim. Thank you for doing that.
Move to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
I need a second.
I'll second.
Motion's been properly made by Councilman Alexander and seconded by Councilman Cuthbert. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Meeting adjourned. Thank you.